All around the world, people have collectively sold off at least $120 billion worth of US government bonds. Or could it be that a growing number of individuals are beginning to sense that the United States is no longer the so-called safe haven asset anymore? Support the Psy Money Monster channel so we can continue to present information and content freely by using this QR code. All proceeds go toward encouraging Psy and the team to keep improving our content. Or just hitting the subscribe button for us is already a huge encouragement. Thank you so much from the Psy Money Monster channel. The concept of debt itself doesn't actually have any inherent or tangible economic value in this world because it's neither a physical product nor a service that directly serves or benefits the global population. As for debt that can pay interest or returns, that's only because someone has formally established the specific terms and promised to pay the agreed-upon interest. But no one really knows, right? Whether the debt that's been borrowed will actually be used to create real economic value. After all, there's no way to track or monitor whether they actually do it or not. And today, countries around the world are dumping US government bonds, or US debt, on the market, totaling as much as $120 billion. Reuters reported that as of December 2024, the amount of US government bonds held by foreign countries has decreased from $8,633 billion down to just $8,513 billion. That's a drop of $120 billion. This is a sign that the world may be starting to see US government bonds as no longer being a safe asset. Because right now, whether it's the US economy or the mechanisms of money coming from the United States causing inflation, now seems to be causing harm and could even hurt the US economy itself. The United States borrows money from all over the world, which has pushed the US national debt up to $36.5 trillion today, and it's rising faster than a ticking clock. This is the root cause leading to the crisis. The value of money is fluctuating all over the world, and the massive spending by the United States has caused inflation. The Fed once predicted that things might get better, but that hasn't happened. In fact, it looks like things are getting even worse. The University of Michigan forecasts that US inflation will keep rising, increasing by about 3.5% per year for the next 5 to 10 years. So right now, we're in a situation where we're experiencing the most severe inflation since 1995. And if you look at this chart from JP Morgan, you'll see that the claims about inflation being just 2% or 3% per year aren't true at all. Even JP Morgan released this report showing that over the past year, global inflation has risen as high as 10%. So why is inflation such a big deal? Why do people keep saying it's not just 2% or 3%, but actually 10%? Why does that matter? Inflation means that the money we're holding in our hands is losing value. When it loses value, it means that the same amount of money now has less purchasing power. In other words, from now on, whether it's your water bill, electric bill, your kids' diapers, tuition fees, everything you can think of, those costs will go up. That means the money you have in your hands now has less power. And when the Fed says they're going to bring inflation down to 2%, if they're not fudging the numbers, that's a big deal. That's not likely to happen easily because right now we're living in a world experiencing the most severe inflation in the past 30 years. And for everyone holding US government bonds, no matter what your returns are today, they're going to be eroded more and more by rising inflation tomorrow and in the days to come. Plus, the world is drowning in debt. And the reason people hold US government bonds is because of the clever financial engineering of the United States. From the very beginning, you can see that the US has run large trade deficits for a long time, right? Why is it that a country with such huge and persistent trade deficits can still be the world's largest economy? It's because the US is willing to run trade deficits in order to be the world's biggest consumer. When the US buys goods from other countries, for example, if America buys rice from Thailand, Thailand sells that rice to the US and gets $1 in return. Then the US says, why not exchange that $1 for a special coupon called a US government bond? That way, you'll get a very stable and reliable return on your money. So Thailand takes that $1 and buys the bond and gives it back to America, then holds on to it as a US government bond instead in order to receive the returns that the US government promised. And it's not just Thailand. No need to complain, because countries all over the world do this. That's because the United States says that US government bonds, or its debt, are stable and safe assets, and whoever holds them is considered wealthy. That's why US government bonds are held by people all over the world. They're considered a country's reserve currency. This has led to foreigners holding as much as $9.2 trillion of US debt. This amount accounts for 45% of all US debt, which is quite a lot. And this is exactly the part that could become a problem that comes back to haunt the United States. Today, as I previously mentioned, assets that are currently classified as debt, creditors are willing to hold them for one reason only. They want to earn interest. So the higher the rate of inflation, meaning the more the currency depreciates in value, the more creditors will demand higher and higher interest rates. Consequently, this will significantly increase the overall borrowing costs for the United States government. More expensive. So the next station, when inflation rises and the currency depreciates, creditors demand higher interest rates. This means the Fed can't lower policy interest rates. And the first people to suffer will be ordinary Americans before the pain spreads to people in other countries. That's just how it is. Just wait a little bit, because that's the way the world of interest rates works. The US interest rate or bond yield is around 4.5%. That's why bank interest rates are up to 8 to 10%. And don't even mention credit card interest rates. They've been over 20% for a while. Now, if the currency keeps depreciating, creditors will want even higher interest rates, right? And if the interest rate or the bond yield on US government bonds goes up from 4.5% to 6%, then bank interest rates will rise from 8 to 10% to maybe 10 to 12%. As for credit card interest rates, who knows how high they'll go, but honestly, I don't think anyone could afford to pay that much. So as debt keeps piling up and interest rates keep rising, the cost of borrowing just keeps getting higher and higher until people simply can't pay anymore. Can't pay off the debt? What do? Just print more money. So how much money has the United States printed? Let me show you this chart as an example. This is the scariest chart when it comes to US money printing. If you look back just a few years, in 2020, during the COVID outbreak, the US printed an amount totaling 25% of all the money in the country. At that time, you could see asset prices shoot up everywhere. Stocks, Bitcoin, everything went up. But what didn't go up was the quality of life for most people in the world. You can see it clearly from this graph. Here's an example from Thailand. Businesses that have been sluggish since the COVID period. This data is from SCBEC. See? They haven't recovered. But all that money the US pumped into the system, what they called a strong dose, ended up causing inflation. It made the price of everything go up, and that inflation spread all over the world. Everything I've just explained means that US government bonds probably can't be considered safe assets anymore. And the leader of the pack, who no longer sees US government bonds as a safe investment, is, once again, America's old rival, China. That's because China has been dumping US government bonds more than anyone else. Most recently, they sold off $57 billion worth. China used to hold as much as $1.3 trillion in US government bonds, but now they're down to $759 billion, the lowest level since 2009. As for other countries, I'm not sure if they're following China's lead, but there are definitely others selling off US government bonds too. For example, Japan has sold $27 billion worth, and the UK has sold $44 billion worth. They sold off $7 billion, and Switzerland sold $10 billion US dollars. Altogether, the total is even higher. So by the end of last year, that is the end of 2024, countries had sold off a total of $120 billion in US government bonds. And with the purchasing power of the US dollar continuously declining like this, that's the reason why. That's why gold prices have gone up. Even though a one-baht gold bar is still the same size, it's never gotten any bigger. The reason it's more expensive isn't because gold itself is worth more, but because money has lost its value. People are turning to assets that have real, tangible value instead of putting their lives in the hands of the US dollar. And if you want to prove how world leaders view the US dollar, you actually don't even need to watch the news. There's no need to analyze or sit and watch what the leader or what this or that country's leaders are saying. Just look at how much US assets they're actually holding, because the amount of money they keep on hand, that alone tells you everything about how they really feel.